My topic is, what has thy in thy house? And my subtopic is, Lord, let the oil flow. Now here we find in 2 Kings, there is a woman there, and she was once married to one of the sons of the prophets. Now her husband was under the great tutelages of Elisha. Now Elisha had what we call a school of the prophets. Now we don't know if he was one of his students, or we don't know if he was actually an armor bearer or an adjutant to him. We don't even know if he was a cupbearer to him. All we know is that he was under the tutelage of Elisha. Now for the Bible does tell us that this woman here, she had a husband. She had a man that was her friend, you see. A man that was her lover. A man that provided for her and her two sons. And now this man is dead. This man has died. So now this widow woman becomes the breadwinner of the household. Now it is her responsibility to train up a child in the way they should go. And when they get old, it will not depart. Now it's her time to go out and play b-ball with the boys. It's her time to go out and shoot some hoops with the boys. It's her time to play football with the boys. Now it's her time to tell the boys, no, don't mess with those fast-tailed girls. They don't mean you no good. I want you to get an education. I want you to do what's right by God. I want you to study and stay in school. The girls will come later. This woman now takes on the responsibility of becoming a mother as well as a father to these two children. Now because of the fact that she becomes the breadwinner, she realizes that she doesn't have a 9-to-5 job. She realizes that her husband was the one that was bringing home the bacon. Her husband was the one that was paying the mortgage on the house. Her husband was the one that was putting the food on the table. Her husband was the one that was paying the light bill. Her husband was the one that was giving her grocery money. Her husband was the one that was providing for the family. And now this man is gone, so bills are due. All right. Because of the fact that these bills are due, the scripture lets us know that there are some unresolved debts that need to be paid. And this woman's back is up against the wall. See, she didn't have no family that she could borrow money from. She didn't have United Global Crisis Ministry there to help her. She didn't have a check, cash, and go that she could go and borrow money off of. There was no Bank of America. There was no Wachovia. There was no SunTrust. There was no stocks and bonds. There was no lottery tickets that she could scratch off. There was no help that she could receive from someone to help pay these bills. So this woman's back was caught up. She was caught between a rock and a hard place. Yes. Now out of despair and desperation, this woman begins to go and she begins to cry out to the man of God, the prophet Elisha. Now as she begins to cry out, she begins to say, thy servant, my husband, is dead. My baby has left me. He's gone. But Elisha, you know that my husband did fear the Lord. You know that he did serve God. You know that he did serve you. But look at here, man, I'm in debt. I have no money to pay my creditors off. And she said, and because of the fact that I don't have money to pay the creditors off, now the creditors are coming to take away my sons to pay off this debt. Now let's pause a little bit and go back in history. Back in those days under the Mosaic law, if you owed somebody and that person died, the creditor had a right to go and possess their children, or the mother died, the father, whoever is still living. They had a right to get them, and what they would do is they would take them into their houses and their homes and use them as slaves. And the only time that they will be free would be between the year of Jubilee, or if they have worked their time off in the number of years to pay off their debt. So imagine this woman more than 2. So therefore she had sons, and she's like, they about to take my sons. They had already took my husband, the one I love, the one whom I adore, the one that helped pray me through, the one that provided for me, the one that made ways for me, and now they're coming to take my only 2 sons. If they take my sons, I have nothing left. So this woman is crying out to Elisha in desperation, I need you to help me. You are the one that my husband went with when you anointed the men of God. You are the one that taught my husband. You are the one that taught him how to be a mighty man of God. I'm coming to you now because you are the representation of Jesus Christ. You're the only thing that I can focus on right now. I've been praying, but it hasn't been working. What is it that you want from me on today? Then he asks another question. What hast thou in the house? What hast thou in the house? What's on the inside of you that I can use? What's on the inside of you that I can touch? It's a setup. What's on the inside? So she said, sir, a saved pot of oil is all I have. So in other words, she said this. I looked at my house. I searched all around the house. I couldn't find nothing. I didn't have anything I could take to the pawn shop. I didn't have anything that I could put on eBay. I didn't have anything that I could put on Craigslist that I could sell to pay this debt off. But I do remember my husband and how he used to go and anoint people with you. I do remember how that oil was very costly. I do remember. So, sir, all I got is this saved pot of oil. That's all I have in my possession. I ain't got no diamonds. I ain't got no furs. I ain't got no silver. I don't have no gold. I don't have enough food to feed my kids. I don't know where my next meal is coming from. I don't know how I'm going to pay these bills. But all I got is a saved pot of oil. That's all I have is a saved pot of oil. So, little did this woman know that this little pot of oil is going to be the answer to her prayer. So the prophet gives her instructions. He says, go and borrow your vessels from your neighbors. Go borrow them. I want you to get as many empty vessels as you can. Go borrow them, okay? So I can imagine this woman going to borrow these vessels, knocking on Ron's door. Hey, Ron, how you doing? I need some vessels. Do you have some vessels? Yeah, I got some needs of vessels. He ain't going to question why. Here you go, Miss Betty. Go ahead. Take your vessels and go on and do what you got to do. We're going to name her Betty. Is it all right? That's all right. It's okay. We go to the new millennium message. Is okay? Yeah. All right. So she goes to Ron's house, and Ron give her vessels. And she goes and she knocks on another door. Hey, Sister Tracy, how you